We will see Kawhi with the Spurs again.
Another dinner meeting, or he actually going to play?
Okay, so Isaiah, folks, this is interesting. He's having a change of heart. He wants to be a backup for my Lakers? That's a question mark. I don't know if that's...
I don't think that's exactly what he said.
Oh, okay, my bad. Plus, are you convinced the Rockets will win the West? That is the question.
Win out the West? What win?
Sports Nation is presented by Toyota.
Okay, so welcome to Sports
works.
Nation, folks. Carrie Champion here.
Lord.
We got Marcellus, fully dressed. We got
Looking a
LZ
little.
with a nice new sweater. And you guys,
You know
let's
what?
just take a moment for our special guest.
What's going on, y'all?
I am so happy you're here.
I was in L.A. Y'all asked me to come by. I'm here. What's up? What's up?
Did you bring In-N-Out burgers
Okay.
with you while you swim?
No, not at all. They some shrimp, though.
He ate some shrimp, but no In-N-Out. All right, so listen, the fellas are here. Let's get it started, shall we?
Do it.
We're going places, presented by Toyota. Up first, don't hold your breath. Kawhi Leonard has only played 9 games this season and is still out with a lingering quad injury, despite rumors of Kawhi returning before the end of the season. Manu Ginobili isn't holding back either. Listen to this. He said he's not holding his breath.
He's not coming back. For me, he's not coming back because he's not helping. We fell for it a week ago again. I guess you guys made us fall for it. But as I said maybe a month ago, I don't know when it was, we got to think that he's not coming back, that we are who we are, and that we got to fight without him. So, yeah, that shouldn't be changing.
All right, they got to fight without him. So we're going to ask Stephen A. this. Do you think that we will ever see Kawhi Leonard in a Spurs uniform again?
I think so, because obviously he's worth over $200 million when he's healthy. And the one team that's in a position to give him that money is the San Antonio Spurs. Whether they're going to do it or not remains to be seen, because he's coming off an injury and you want to show and prove. But this guy has been a rough rider for the most part throughout his career. This season has been an aberration. His uncle obviously is in the picture, has some degree of influence. Sure. We all know about that, but in the end, money talks and everything else walks. And since the San Antonio Spurs, albeit reluctantly, because they would prefer not to have to pay that money, if they come up with the dough, that is ultimately what will speak loudest.
You're saying the money is the issue, not the fact that he hasn't played? I thought he was unhappy.
No, I'm saying the point is that no matter how unhappy you are, Kevin, you can speak to this, no matter how unhappy you are,
Get your money
has a way of alleviating those negative feelings. That is what I am saying.
I would be more concerned about Popovich with this, and this is why. This is now the second star player he's had to deal with that he's had concerns with that weren't basketball related. We know about LaMarcus Aldridge, that's been well reported. Now you have Kawhi Leonard. Pop comes from the old school, the Jerry Sloan school, that, you know what, this is the way we've always done things. You come in with this new mentality, this new generation mentality. I'm not vibing with that. I would rather bow out than put up with this mess. I would be concerned if Pop is looking at Kawhi going, you know what, this is a second dude. I got to deal with this mess. I don't won my chips. I'm in the Hall of Fame. Why am I still doing this?
I beg to differ that both of those situations were basketball related. You talk about Aldridge, he just was concerned with the way he was being used in the system. And you talk about Kawhi, whether it's a misdiagnosis or not properly appreciated by the talents I have on this court, Popovich is now dealing with the new era of basketball star. And that guy is doing a simple dynamic of principle, AL, versus principle, LE. Now, the principle is I'm looking at you, Coach, like, you can't misdiagnose me. This situation cannot affect my future because it may be even longer and further than the San Antonio Spurs. That's the
But this is the franchise that kept Tim Duncan around for 20 seasons. I would trust that staff would know what it would take.
Well, wait a minute.
Every case is different.
Wait a minute now. If you're talking about somebody that feels they've been misdiagnosed, that's not about Popovich. Popovich is the head of the organization. I get it, but he ain't the medical staff.
Right.
And so as a coach, as a player, you're not holding the coach responsible.
Oh, yes, I am. You know why? Because the coach is going to say play, and I'm saying, hold on. I haven't gotten to the bottom of why I'm not playing in the first place. I'm not saying you're the problem.
Yeah, but you're holding the coach accountable if the coach says that. Popovich is not somebody that has ever had a resume or a record about throwing his players to the wolves when it comes to injury. A matter of fact, he's going out of his way to protect those interests. League-wide, when you hear players talk about Popovich, they'll say he protects his players. So I'm not talking about a coach, meaning generically speaking. I'm talking about in San Antonio. What you don't hold Greg Popovich accountable for is throwing players to the wolves and putting them in a position.
Oh, this is a unique situation. You don't need a resume. You don't need something else to look for a reference point. Kawhi Leonard's not not even talking about Popovich. I'm hearing Ginobili say, hey, we got duped like that before. Yeah. We don't know what to believe right now. And it's because the guy's sitting there saying, I don't feel that this situation properly respected what I was going through.
I interpret the quote as being about the media, not necessarily about Kawhi telling the guys, hey, I'm coming back, I'm coming back. To me, it sounds as if Ginobili's quote was about the media's reports about his return.
He's not coming back as of yet. That's the bottom line. We'll move on. Next up,
this season.
Needing another opinion, last night the injury-plagued Celtics beat the Thunder by 1 point in a thrilling game. Was it thrilling? Kyrie didn't play, missing his fourth straight game due to his soreness in his left knee. Brad Stevens commented on Kyrie's status after the game, folks.
He's going to get a second opinion. That's why he probably won't go on the trip. So, and again, I think that's smart of him. But I haven't talked to him yet since that decision was made, and I haven't talked to Danny or our staff. It's not new pain by any means. It's not anything new. It's continued soreness.
It's not anything new. So I'm thinking, and Stephen A., help us out with this. I'll give this question to you first. He's injured. He had this issue before when he was with the Cavs. They got rid of Isaiah. Is there any trepidation or any need for the fans, in the front office for that matter, to be concerned?
The only reason you need to be concerned about Kyrie Irving is for this year. Kyrie Irving long term, you're not worried about him at this particular juncture. He hasn't had to have hip surgery or anything. He hasn't been out for a lengthy period of time. That's not the situation with Kyrie. This is not what it was a couple of years ago.
Okay.
He had those injuries in Atlanta. They ultimately went to the finals, but you know what? You had some troubles, and then he went down in game one. Well, in this particular, they came back and won a championship after that with LeBron James. So we know that he can play. The issue in question for the Boston Celtics is that the East looks incredibly vulnerable. You thought that Cleveland was going to be a juggernaut, and now they look vulnerable. You're not sold completely on the Toronto Raptors. So if I'm Kyrie Irving and I'm looking at the fact that we got 8 players that are averaging at least 10 points or more, and we could go 10 deep when you add Baines and Greg Monroe to the equation, I'm looking at the East being vulnerable, right to be had, and if I'm a Boston Celtics fan, I'm like, damn, please don't let anything happen to Kyrie Irving, because we thought we were about a year or two away. We got an opportunity to get these guys right now and go to the finals. That's their concern.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at that team, the first thing I want to go is to Brad Stevens. You don't have your free agent signing. You don't have the guy you traded for, and you're still winning. You're still right there. Granted, the Toronto Raptors are going to finish the #1 seed, but if you told me that your big free agent acquisition was going to go down game one, and you're still going to be able to match rookies, second-year players to achieve this, he gets a hell of an applause out of me.
So no need to worry.
No need to worry.
I hate to be jumping on you all day, but I'm going to do it. Why are you clapping? They were the #1 seed last year. How'd that turn out? Smoked. Okay, now this year, we don't know how it's going to turn out. Are they coming out the East? This is a calendar that's compromising what Kyrie's future is.
Right.
Stephen A's right. This is just a short-term issue. This is not a long-term issue. The guy's been dealing with this pain for several years. However, because he has a team that is a contender, he's trying to measure, can I get to the refueling station in time and still be able to go on this stretch run? And that's the balancing act right now. It's a tough call. I've seen many guys in the locker room have to get the injections, have to take the fluid.
What does he do?
You know what? I think right now he needs to rest it and then hope that he comes back in time to get in flow for the playoffs.
The whole objective. Am I going to be ready for the postseason?
Exactly.
That's it.
I don't care if I have to miss every game for the rest of this regular season. The East is right to be had. I still think it's LeBron's the conference to lose, but the East is there to be had. And if I'm Kyrie and I got 9 other dudes that I can rely on because they can go 10 deep, and I got 7 other dudes that's going to average in double digits for me, and the Terry Roziers of the world have been balling. The Jason Tatum has been balling. Jaylen Brown can ball. Horford can ball. Marcus Smart can ball, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. I'm like, excuse me, it's all about, can I be ready for the playoffs? Because if I bring what I bring, 24 game, easy.
Right.
Okay, if I bring what I bring, we can take anybody. That's what he's got to do right now. These games are not important.
The other ones
it's about being ready for the postseason. And you measure everything by whether or not you're going to get close to 100%.
Ladies and gentlemen, we had the pleasure of having Stephen A. He'll be here for a while in Los Angeles. Maybe he'll hang out with us again. What do you think?
That's it. I think we ran out of money.
We ran out of money.
We ran out of money.
We got some money.
We ain't got no chairs yet.
We broke. Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, hey, I'm heading back to a nor'easter.
Oh, man. Thank you for joining us here. We appreciate it. Coming up next, folks, Isaiah Thomas. He's had a change of heart. A little bit. Maybe. me? No?
It sounds like a little.
I don't know.
He's looking for a job. Just call it what it is.
Hey, yo, hello. We discuss in just a few moments.
This is Sports Nation.
Sports Nation is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. And in part by Northwestern Mutual. Spend your life living.